Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
In the ancient world, a merchant named Nanavindak began a long journey. He lived in Samarkand and got his camels ready. He would travel thousands of miles to the east, over hot deserts and high mountains. Nanavindak wanted to sell goods, like valuable silk. But his journey was more than just about selling things. His bags carried not only goods, but also new ideas. These ideas were about different ways of thinking and new knowledge from other cultures. They were like seeds that would grow and change the world. His path was part of a big network of roads called the Silk Road. It was not just one road, but many paths. It connected many lands, from Rome in the west to Beijing in the east. This road linked different people and places. It helped them share new thoughts, inventions, and religions. For a very long time, this road helped cultures meet and change each other. The Silk Road was the world's first great network. It helped create the world we live in today. 2. A road for horses. The Silk Road is famous for silk, but this long path did not start because of silk. It began because of horses. In ancient times, the Chinese Empire needed strong horses. Their army had a big problem. A group of nomadic fighters called the Xiongnu often attacked Chinese lands. These Xiongnu had fast horses and great riders. Chinese soldiers who fought on foot or with weaker horses often lost battles. So, in the year 138 BCE, a Chinese leader named Emperor Wu made a plan. He sent an important man named Zhang Qian on a long journey. Zhang Qian's mission was to travel far to the west. He needed to find strong allies, other groups who would fight against the Xiongnu with China. Zhang Qian traveled for many years. His journey was very dangerous. He was even captured for a long time. But he learned many new things. He reached a place called the Fergana Valley, far away in what is now Uzbekistan. There, he saw amazing horses. These horses were strong and fast, much better than any horses in China. The Chinese later called them heavenly horses. Emperor Wu greatly wanted these horses for his army. He even fought a war to get them. Zhang Qian's long trip was more important than just finding horses. He also learned about many other things. He found out about new trade routes and markets in Central Asia. He saw goods like jade, a green stone, and lapis lazuli, a blue stone. He also learned about glass and special ways to work with metals. These things were new to China, and people in the West wanted Chinese goods too. So the Silk Road began almost by chance. It started not from peaceful plans to trade silk, but from China's need for powerful horses and its fight against its enemies. The Chinese army set up forts along the way to protect their lands and their way to the horses. This made it safe for some traders to follow. Later, a German mapmaker gave the name Silk Road to these paths. But it was never just one road, it was many different routes. The Parthian Empire, a strong kingdom in the West, became important middlemen. They made a lot of money by buying goods from China and selling them to the Roman Empire. They made sure these two big empires did not trade directly. The Silk Road became a place where more than just goods moved. Ideas, religions, and new technologies also traveled along these paths, changing the world slowly. 3. The big cities. As the Silk Road grew wider and busier, many important cities started to appear along its long paths. These cities were more than just stops for travelers. They became very rich and famous centers for trade and different cultures. They grew wealthy because merchants from all over the known world met there to buy and sell valuable goods. One very famous city was Samarkand. People sometimes called it the Rome of the East because it was so big and important. Samarkand was special because many different trade routes crossed there. Roads from far-off lands like China, India, Persia, and even the Mediterranean Sea all came together in Samarkand. In its big, busy markets, you could see traders from many different countries. They spoke many languages, selling everything from beautiful Chinese silk and porcelain to rare spices, soft wool, and shining jewels. Bukhara was another key city, known for both trade and great learning. It became a very famous place for Islamic education. Many smart scholars came to Bukhara to study, and this also helped the city's trade grow. Merchants knew that a city with knowledge and good ideas often brought good business. Kashgar was important too, especially for caravans traveling to China. It was the last big city before traders had to cross the very challenging Taklamakan Desert. Here, merchants stocked up on dried food, fresh water, and strong pack animals for the hard journey ahead. These cities also found smart ways to manage money, which made trade easier and safer over long distances. One important system was called hawala. With hawala, a merchant could put money in a bank or with a trusted person in one city, like Samarkand. Then they could get that same amount of money out in a city far away, like Beijing, without physically carrying heavy coins or valuable silver. This helped keep their money safe from thieves on the dangerous road. Another helpful tool was letters of credit. These were like special notes that promised money. Merchants could use them instead of real money for big deals, making international trade smoother and more trustworthy. These new ideas about money helped the Silk Road become a truly global marketplace for many centuries. 4. More than goods. The Silk Road carried many goods, like silk and spices. But the most important things that traveled along these paths were ideas, knowledge, and beliefs. These invisible treasures changed the world. One big idea was paper making, which came from China. Before paper, writing was difficult. Paper was lighter and cheaper. When paper-making moved west, it changed how people wrote and shared knowledge. It helped books and studies spread quickly to places like Europe and the Islamic world. Another key invention from China was gunpowder. It was first used for fireworks, then for weapons. As gunpowder traveled west, it changed warfare. Other Chinese ideas also moved, such as the compass and printing techniques. From India, new math ideas, including zero, traveled to China and beyond. The Silk Road also helped new crops spread, like grapes for Chinese wine and peaches and apricots for the Mediterranean. Religions also journeyed along the Silk Road. Buddhism is a prime example. It started in India, and over many centuries, monks and traders carried its teachings to China. They built temples and translated holy books. Famous monks like Xuanzang made long trips to India for more Buddhist texts. Other faiths, such as Nestorian Christianity and Manichaeanism, also found new followers. People from various religions often lived and traded in the big cities. A special group, the Sogdians, were vital traders on the Silk Road. They came from a region near Samarkand called Sogdiana. Sogdians were master traders. They spoke many languages and understood different cultures. They set up trading posts in cities from the Middle East to China. Sogdian became a common language for trade in Central Asia. They connected all the different people and cultures. They were skilled at managing money and trade. Their flexibility and honesty made them key links. The Silk Road was more than just a path for goods. It was a highway for minds, beliefs, and ways of life. It showed how connecting different cultures could lead to amazing changes for everyone. 5. People on the road. The Silk Road was busy with many different kinds of people. Each person had their own story and their own reason to travel this long and often hard path. One important person was a merchant named Vakshuvar. He was from the Sogdian lands. He traveled across big deserts and high mountains. His goal was to buy and sell valuable things, like fine silk and rare spices. Vakshuvar's letters show his difficult life. He worried about his family, who he did not see for a long time. There were many dangers on the road. Robbers often attacked the caravans to steal goods. Sometimes local leaders asked for too much money, making trade harder. The prices of goods changed, and it was hard to know if he would make a good profit. But Vakshuvar hoped to earn enough money to buy a nice house and stop working. His hard work helped connect people and places across the world. Another important person was Foxium, a Buddhist monk from China. He walked the Silk Road not for money, but for his deep faith. Around the year 399, he started a very long trip to India. He wanted to find important, old Buddhist books and learn more about his religion. His journey took 15 years. It was full of danger and hardship. He crossed tall mountains where the snow was very deep. Some of his friends died, and others went back home. But Foxian did not stop. His strong belief helped him continue. Along the way, he met many other Buddhist people and saw different kinds of Buddhist art. We can also imagine Captain Li Wei. He was a Chinese soldier. He worked at small forts, often far from any big cities. His job was to guard parts of the Silk Road. He helped keep merchants safe from bandits. He also collected money from traders. Being a soldier on the Silk Road was a very lonely and hard life. Soldiers were often away from their homes and families for many years. Sometimes soldiers left their posts because life was so tough. But these forts were very important for the trade route. They gave merchants safe places to stop, rest, and get supplies for their animals during their long journeys. These people, the brave merchants, the religious monks, and the watchful soldiers, truly made the Silk Road alive. They carried not only goods, but also new ideas, different religions, and their own hopes across the ancient world. 6. The dark side. The Silk Road, while connecting many lands and peoples, also had a dangerous side. It was not always a safe place. Many things made travel on this road very risky for merchants and travelers. One major danger was bandits. These groups of robbers often attacked the caravans. They wanted to steal valuable goods like silk, spices, and precious metals. Bandits were not just simple thieves. They were often well organized. They sometimes had spies in the big cities. These spies would tell them about rich caravans and when they would leave. Sometimes corrupt officials also helped bandits by giving them information. Because of this danger, merchants had to travel in large groups. These groups often had many armed guards to protect them. Some parts of the road became too dangerous to use when there was no strong government to keep order. Another sad part of the Silk Road was the slave trade. People were captured and sold as slaves. This happened in many parts of the world connected by the road. Slaves moved from east to west and from west to east. For example, some people from Central Asia and Europe were sold in China. People from Africa and China were sold in other markets, like those in Byzantine and Islamic lands. Slave trading was very organized, with special merchants who bought and sold people. Some cities on the Silk Road became well known for their slave markets. Many slaves died on the long journeys because the conditions were very harsh. They were far from home with no way to return. The Silk Road also spread deadly diseases. The same roads that carried goods and ideas also carried sickness. People, animals, and goods could carry tiny things that caused illness. These diseases spread very fast across continents because of the constant movement of people. A very famous example is the Black Death. This terrible sickness started in Central Asia. It then traveled along the Silk Road to Europe in the 14th century. It killed millions of people, perhaps from 30 to 60% of Europe's population. Other diseases like smallpox and measles also moved along these trade routes. They often caused many deaths in places where people had no protection against them. So, while the Silk Road brought much good, it also brought much suffering and loss of life. 7. The road ends. The Great Silk Road, which had connected east and west for more than 1,000 years, slowly began to fade. It did not end in one day. Many things happened that made the long journey across land harder and less useful. The old paths, once full of life and trade, began to grow quiet. One big reason was the rise of new empires. The Ottoman Empire became very strong in the West, controlling many parts of the Silk Road. They started to ask for more money from merchants. They charged high taxes on goods, which made items like silk and spices very expensive for people to buy in Europe. Also, trading through Ottoman lands became slower and more difficult because of new rules and delays. This made merchants look for other ways to get their goods. At the same time, people found a much better way to trade, using ships. Sailors started to travel long distances across the sea. Ships could carry a lot more cargo than groups of camels, sometimes hundreds of times more. Journeys by sea were also faster and cost much less money. For example, explorers like Vasco da Gama found new sea routes directly to Asia, going around Africa. This meant European merchants could get goods from China and India without traveling on the dangerous overland Silk Road. They no longer needed the old land routes and the cities along them. China itself also changed. The Ming Dynasty, a new group of rulers in China, decided to close its borders more. They did not want much trade with other foreign countries. They stopped many foreign ships from coming to their ports, and overland trade was greatly limited. This made it very hard for merchants to buy famous Chinese goods like porcelain and tea. China became more isolated, which also stopped much of the trade that used the Silk Road. So, the great cities along the Silk Road, like Samarkand and Bukhara, became less important. Fewer caravans traveled the dusty roads. The long, hard land routes simply could not compete with the new, efficient sea routes. The high cost and long time of traveling on land became too much. Bit by bit, the great age of the Silk Road came to its end. The path that had brought so many ideas and goods together finally grew silent. The road today. The long journey of the old Silk Road ended many years ago, fading as new sea routes became more important. But its spirit and the amazing ideas it shared still live today. The Silk Road was more than just paths for selling silk. It helped to connect people from different lands and share knowledge. It showed how new ways of thinking, new goods, and new technologies could travel far and change the world forever. Inventions like paper, gunpowder, and even the compass moved from east to west. Religions like Buddhism also spread, bringing new beliefs to different cultures. These powerful ideas continue to shape our world in many ways we still see today. Today, there is a new idea that strongly reminds us of the old Silk Road. China is building a very large project called the Belt and Road Initiative. The President of China, Xi Jinping, announced this huge plan in 2013. This modern project wants to connect many countries across Asia, Africa, and Europe with new roads, railways, and sea routes. This new network aims to make trade and travel much easier and faster. It is a very big plan that uses modern technology like high-speed trains and large deep-water ports. However, the old Silk Road and this new initiative are different in important ways. The old Silk Road grew slowly over more than 1,000 years. It was not one single road, but many shifting paths made by traders. No one country fully controlled all of it. The new Belt and Road Initiative is different. It is a big, planned strategy made by one country, China. It aims to help China's economy grow and strengthen its connections with other nations. The speed and giant size of these new projects are far greater than anything possible in ancient times. The story of the Silk Road teaches us important lessons. It shows how connecting with different cultures and sharing ideas can lead to good things. When people share goods, knowledge, and beliefs, it can create a better world for everyone, bringing peace and wealth. It reminds us that working together, even with very different people, can bring growth and understanding. But it also teaches that problems can stop these connections. Things like wars or not trusting others can make people lose valuable connections. The Silk Road's history shows the lasting power of connection and cooperation. It tells us that when different cultures meet, they can create something truly special. What do you think is the most important lesson from the Silk Road's history for people living in the world today?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.